Okay, we're just getting stuff set up here. Want to make sure everything's working smooth. Which it may not be. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, right, I have a delay. So, if you're watching, you may see a little bit of a delay going on. But because there's no one technically watching within this first minute, I'm going to use this to make sure everything's working. So, if you hear me twice, that's why. Well, that doesn't want to work. Hang on. I almost have it. I have not streamed in a while, so I'm obviously struggling. There we go. I just kind of want to hear what the there we go. Okay. Everything sounds like. Oh, right. I have a delay. Okay, I'm gonna pause the music real quick. If you're watching, you may see a little bit of a delay going on. But because there's no one technically watching within this first minute, I'm going to use this to make sure everything's working. So, okay, looks like it's working. Music's coming back. Oh, but you are watching. I guess you are. Sorry, there is a bit of a delay because I'm using some old settings. Previously, I had a much worse internet connection, which you, of all people, should know. But previously, I had a much worse internet connection, so I had lots of delays and things, so that the whole thing had time to buffer and all that. And then I just haven't changed it back because I didn't do that. Which is weird because I can send a message and you'll see that now because I sent it, but you won't hear me talk about sending that message for another minute, which you're now hearing, which is trippy. So, anyway, welcome. A while ago, I used to do some of these Blender live streams, and then I stopped. I'm currently working on doing them again, though it's entirely possible it will be through a different channel. So, if you did not already know, one of the big projects that I've been working on over the past 3 years is a little company called Starskipper Games. You can find out more information on starskippergames.com, which is where we have the majority of our stuff, which is pretty cool. We got 2 free games on there. One of them is called the Super Simple RPG, which I wrote, designed, did all the details for, and it's free. It's... yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's a RPG framework. You can run your own games, kind of like other popular tabletop RPGs. And so, completely free to download. It's like 4 pages long, and there's a game set up in there. There's also another one called Siege of the Nexus, which is also free. That one is a tabletop miniatures like war game. It's also pretty customizable. That one I want to keep working on further, but kind of over a longer period. Like there's stuff I want to do with it, but presently I don't know what any of that stuff is. So, and it's in a playable state, and like it's pretty good. There's a lot of content in it. So most recently, today in fact, we launched our newest game, which is Space Quest, and that's one that we've been working towards for a long time. We've developed it, redeveloped it, tried to figure out publication methods for like getting the physical game in people's hands. That took like a year and a half, maybe 2 years to figure out how to do, because we explored a lot of different options. We looked at wood cutting, like making the pieces out of wood. We looked at paper, which we did actually have for a while, but it just wasn't super engaging, and there were a lot of pieces that we couldn't get in a paper setting. It just wasn't super great. We looked through a couple publishers, but a lot of those just didn't fit with what we wanted to do and what the goals of our company were. So we finally managed to, over the course of a couple months, develop a system using 3D printers by which we could create not only the pieces, but the boxes themselves, and basically just make almost everything in the box from start to finish. So because of that, we set that up, and that's on our website now. If you go to starskippergames.com, you can see that on there to the far right. It says new release, and you can pick it up on there, free shipping, and it should deliver, if you are watching this today, the 5th. It should deliver about or around Christmas. So, stocking stuffer. Yeah. But anyway, that's not what we're here for today. So today, this is a new project that I have started working on. Because now that Space Quest is up and available, it's time to make new games. So this one is very, very early. I'm not going to tell you what it's called yet, just because I want to keep that part a little bit secret, along with kind of what the goals are and what the game's about. But I am going to be crafting, I'm going to be modeling, ideally, some rudimentary artwork tonight. And originally I was just going to kind of do it on my own, but I figured it's been a long time since I've done Blender with some music, which, by the way, this music that I have going on currently, this was compiled by Relaxation Harmony. Their tag is Relaxation Harmony 8843. They're in the comments if you want to check them out. But yeah, it's a bunch of kind of tavern-y, mystical sounding music, and I thought it was a fun detour away from the lo-fi stuff that we did previously, which, don't get me wrong, still good, still enjoyable, but I wanted to try something else. So we're going to be doing that tonight. We'll see how far along I can get, and hopefully I'll make something that looks decently good. So I do also have the keys set up here. If you are, can you see that? Hang on, let me check. There you go. There's the mouse. Yeah, so I do have a little, oh goodness, what's it called? Screencast keys. I have screencast keys up so that if you are wanting to follow along, or you're wanting to do any of this stuff, learn a little bit about 3D modeling, I'd highly recommend using Blender. It's free, open source, and incredible. Probably one of the greatest time investments I've ever made is learning how to use this. That being said, I'm not that great, but I am sufficient. So let's get started. So like any good Blenderer, the first step is to delete the default cube. Now we're going to add in default cube. I'm just kidding. That is not what we're doing. We are actually going to work with a cylinder. And then we will rotate that on the x-axis 90 degrees. So we got something that looks more like that. So the goal here, I will tell you this, the goal is to make bread. like the stereotypical looking loaf of bread. So we're going to start with a cylinder, and then we're going to play around with it and make things fun. So, how are we going to do this? Well, we got to flatten the bottom. So, bring that up. I'll take this whole thing and scale it upwards a little bit on the z-axis. We'll take these two, grab that, pull that down. Just want to create like a stereotypical looking loaf of bread. Probably got to pull the sides in a little more too. There's normally bread, like, kind of, it's like square, and then kind of curls out at the top. Stereotypical bread, I mean. So, we will take these. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to shrink this along the x-axis. Make that look a little more square. Then we're going to grab these on the Z, pull those down, and make that look a little more bread-like. Then puff out the corners, once again scaling on the x-axis, puff that out, and boom! Far from perfect, but look, stereotypical bread. Or breastplate. But, I mean, really, if you think about it, the two are one and the same. Okay, so I want this to go up and out. I don't want it to come at me, so I'm going to Shift Y to scale it on both of these axes, but not the Y axis. Then I'll actually grab those and drag them up a little too. Let's see. Then let's bring these in a little more as well, just on the X. I want it to be squarish. Go from here. So should probably should have done this sooner, but a subdivision would be nice. And then I'm going to use a modifier to smooth that out a little bit. Actually, I stand corrected. I am going to use a subdivision surface modifier. That almost was what I wanted, except it wasn't. Let's see what happens if I scale this on the Y. Bread plate, bread man. See, I like the curve here, but I'm not fond of those 2 points. But tell you what, let's play with it a little bit. So we're going to apply it, and that should create these 2 new points, which I do actually like, because that gives me a little more customization. I can bring those in, flatten that there. Still looks kind of puffy. Scale it there. Okay, this is nice because it lets you see the different angles of things. So if I squeeze that in, Okay, it looks like this is kind of wiggling around. Not entirely sure why that is, but that is okay. I'm not super opposed to it. Wonder if I moved something without intending to. That's okay. This works out. This is all about learning. Okay, then we'll scale this on the Y. Ugh. That's so ugly. No, you know what? I don't really like it. Yeah, it's very pointy bread. Not liking this, so what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can smooth it. No, we are going to remesh. Where's my remesh at? I always forget. Remesh. Okay. That actually doesn't look half bad. And I can work with that. So, if I increase the voxel size, that should give me something like that. And then I can stretch that out. Adaptivity. If you do too much adaptivity, you just get a square again. So let's go back to something like that. And then if you smooth shade this... Oh, wait. Let's see. Let's shade that flat first. Kind of curious what the other ones will look like. I can make Minecraft bread. If you make the voxels... If you make them too small, you just get the same thing again. Or something close to it. So I kind of want to do that. That looks like a good template I can work with. And then apply. What do you look like shaded smooth? You kind of look like if bread was in TF2. I can work with that. Auto smooth. That's okay. I may redo this whole thing because it's not really going the way I want. But it's also not going the way I want. So you know what? I think the problem here is me. But I think the problem here is I grabbed these earlier on and just didn't process it. Let's move this back a little. It's okay. We'll do some touch and go. So take those, draw that out more, grab, draw it down. That's still kind of pointing out, so let's grab and drag that in. Well, I should stop doing that. Probably drag these in too. We'll see how that starts to look. Still kind of looks like pointy bread. And I have concerns about these here, because that's not a face, that's like a... it's like a void. So, what I may do is join those. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that looks better. Sometimes you get these faces that don't really have the geometry that they should. Hey, it actually looks like a bread loaf now. Ideally. Still a little puffy, but, you know, I can work with that. So, take these. We will grab that, drag it along there, but only just. Actually, that would have been better if I used proportional editing. So, make the proportions a little bit better. Not better, bigger. And then we'll grab and drag this out. Probably want the whole front. I'll just grab and drag that whole thing. It's a little puffy, but you know what? That's like real bread. Kinda. Actually, real bread would be a little more flat on the bottom. So, let's just take that, grab and drag that up. There's some parts that I think need to be a little more levitated than others. No, not like that. Of course, it's going to do that because I set it to proportional. Oops. I do still kind of want it to look rough because, like, fresh bread loaves aren't super, like, geometrically perfect looking. Like, yeah, the bottom's normally more flat because the bottom is usually, well, bottom and sides are usually pushed together by a pan. So I guess it should be a little more square-ish. But even still. Okay, did I get all of those? What are those called? I don't know, because that just looks like a face. But some of these, it's like a hole. Like this one right here. Like, you look at it like that, and it says it's a single face, but it's kind of like weird and gappy. So you just hit J to join, and in my opinion that makes it look a little bit nicer. Fills in some of the holes. But I don't even know what they are. I'm gonna take these two here and then scale those out on the x-axis. We'll make the proportions a little bit bigger. And then we'll probably take these two here and shrink those. Nope, not grab. Shrink. Because it's like, you have the bread pan, right? So bread pan is a square, and then the stuff that comes out the top is usually the stuff that kind of goes over the edges. So there needs to be more of a lip. And I may have shot myself in the foot there. It's a little difficult to do a lip with all of this wonkiness, but we'll make it work. I could probably make it look more like bread if I took the sides here. Let's pick these points. Oh, there's another one. Gotta put my entire project on hold just to patch that up. Drag this down a little, just to get something that's pretty similar to what we have on the other side, because it's not geometrically perfect, but it is what it is. Okay, then we'll scale those on the X. Oops. Then we'll scale those on the X, and it'll get massively bigger on one side than it does on the... Oh, right, because I didn't click those. Silly me. Okay. Well, if I'm gonna do this, I might as well just do the whole thing. So there's a thing you can do. Basically selects a loop. Or like a ring of things. I don't really want to do it here. Let's see, how's that look now? It's actually looking pretty good, in my humble opinion. I'd probably make this a little rounder. So what I'm going to do is bevel. Which I'm trying to remember. Okay, so it's, let's see, Control B, and then, ooh. Sorry, I just got distracted by how much it was saying that it was selecting. Basically, you Control B it. I guess I didn't need to hold it. And then the more times you move the wheel, the more little chamfers, curves, whatever. The more of those you can add, which is handy. I'm going to spread this a bit further, just to get that more curved edge. And then we'll Control B that, and then add in an extra lip. That's better. That's much better. Yes, it's very puffy bread. Which, all of this is just experience. You live and you learn by making digital bread. That's the only way to live and learn, it should be noted, is making digital bread. Anything else you do in life doesn't count. Just digital bread. Probably should have selected this whole thing, but I'm not going to. This other end is too high, so just boop, select all of those, and then drag it down. Yeah, like that. The other one kind of comes up too, though, on the other end. I think it looks more stylized this way. Blank things. I see them. Arrgh. I thought I fixed these. No, I fixed those, I didn't fix these. Alright, so that is not a terrible loaf of bread. It's not super uniform, but I will make it work. So, I'm going to save that, because saving is important. Speaking of saving things, how are you doing, Josh? You won't hear this for like a minute, so it won't be a very enlightened conversation, but when you do see it, that's when I'll respond. Oh, that's better. Nope, that's not right. There we go. Okay, so now let's check it out. How does it look? Smooth. Kinda like bread. But I actually like the voxel So I may keep that style. We'll see. This is all very experimental. Like, literally. But I haven't done anything yet. But we're going to get into some shading. So I want this to be kind of cartoony looking, because I could, you know, just slap a brown color on it and say, ah, that's bread. But that's not what we want to do here. We want to create some style. So oh, nice. Link's Awakening is good. This is going to be the most delayed conversation ever. Next time, I will make it so that there's not a big delay. Because that's not good. Alright, so we'll take a diffuse BSDF, and then texture coordinate. I may need to look at a picture of bread. Bread. Okay, you can't see it because it's off screen, but there, my first results were costumes of people in bread, which I thought was very funny. Okay. So the idea here Image made a good point. So I'm looking at a piece of, well, a loaf of bread. And the part that I'm realizing is if I want to get that color, these sides do need to be flat, because that's how bread works, because you cut it like that. So what I'm gonna do is, every time I decide to do something experimental, I feel like I can hear experienced Blender artists screaming somewhere in the distance. But that could also just be me overthinking things. See, if we hide this cube, boom, we got a flat bread face. And then if we, can we grab that while it's hidden? No, we cannot. Basically what this does is it just removes parts of the bread based on what the cube is touching. So it's touching that right there, but if I were to drag that over here and then hide it, you'd see that where the bread's missing. Which you could probably, oh yeah, slice one side so you could see the inside. Yeah, you and I are right there. Right on the same wavelength. So, bread is modified. I'm not going to worry too much about the back. So now I got to decide which side of the bread is more attractive. I think this side. This side isn't bad. It's just kind of, it curves up over there, which I could fix. But my goal is to have it looking something like this. Like this is the angle upon which you'd see the bread. So I'm not too super concerned with the other side. So, which actually that reminds me, I am going to cheat. So this is one of the ways that I like to work with cameras, my own personal preference. You push numpad 0, and that brings you into your active camera. Then if you push N and go to View, you have the lock camera to view, and you'll see that that kind of highlighted the edges. That means that if you zoom in with this or scroll around, the camera moves as well. So I'm just going to kind of set up the desired view of bread, which I think something like that. Yeah, like that, right there. Probably move it a little more there, and then I can drop out of that by pushing 0, and you can see the camera's moved because camera angle has moved. So then, if I slice and dice, make it all nice, then we look at that bread, it gives me a flat surface to work with. And then some of the material I'm going to do, I'm going to work around things. I might bevel the edges too and then assign different materials there to represent the crust. but that remains to be seen. So, I'm not going to apply that quite yet. Right now I'm going to work on just the material of the crust. Yeah, that's weird. Alright, so one of the ways that you can create kind of a cartoonish looking, I don't know why I just deleted that, because I need it, so we'll come back. One of the ways you can create kind of a cartoonish looking shader, or a cartoonish looking material, I should say. So this is a very basic, what's the word, cell shading method. You create a diffuse BSDF modifier, nothing really crazy there, and then you convert shader to RGB. That way you can actually use this shader with other stuff. I know that there's better ways to connect nodes together, but I haven't yet figured out what it is. Anyway, then you add a color ramp, color to that, and then you have your different ramps that you can work with. It should be noted that all of this does get plugged into the surface. So you'll notice that there is something interesting going on here when I move this around. So as I move this, shader gets kind of changed a little bit. So what this is doing, and I can make this more obvious. So if I grab my light and I move that around, well, oh right, this is material preview. Okay, so if we go to rendered, and then we grab the light, yeah, so it creates an effect where basically the light changes the colors. And it becomes more obvious when you make it something that's not white. So if I were to make this blue, the cutoff here is still white. I believe that's because I haven't technically applied it yet. So once I do that, still nothing. Weird. We're going to ignore that side for now. Because right now we're just working on the crust. But as I move this around, you can see that wherever the light goes, it adds a blue effect, or it uses the blue color. Use one that's easier to see, yellow. And it's kind of gross looking because of the voxel, but we'll make it look great. So cell shading and voxels may not work together. The other thing that makes this work is you usually, for cell shading, you use two variants of the same color and you make it so that the color ramp is constant. So I will take the secondary color here and I will do that, which is not something I should have done because that didn't actually eyedrop the color, it eyedropped something else. But then if I make this here a darker version of the same color, you can start to see that cell shade effect. And it's not great with voxel. If I made this shade smooth, there you go. Kind of notice the difference. Oh, that does. Oh, I suddenly understand now why that's all weird. Hang on. Okay, we're going to extrude this real quick. And nope, not that. Shrink it. No, we're going to merge vertices at center. It still creates something flat. It's not great. I'll just kind of shrink this down and make it like a smaller version of the bread. Yeah, so that is really weird. Not actually sure what's going on there. Okay, if we go into materials, does it think there's a secondary material? That would make sense. Has it as a face, so if I assign, there we go, okay. That works out well though, because I will need this for something else. What I may end up doing is, oops, I may scale this back up. Keep that as my bread face, and then I'll do some beveling in here as well to make it look a little smoother. But actually, I'm not hating it. It does look better with the lines, because that lets you see stuff better. But if I take this same shader and then I add a third and make it a dark color, like black, and then we just cram this all the way at the end. Maybe not even black, maybe just a really dark version of this one here. That would make more sense. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, that's a basic cell shader. And you can do this with any color you want. So, anyway, that is not what I'm going to be doing for the whole thing. That's just something that you can do if you want. It's pretty straightforward, just 3 nodes, and you're done. There's other ways you can add to it as well. So if you wanted to kind of mess things up a little, you can add a noise texture in here, and then you can do a mix, RGB, and then feed both of these into that. And then as you increase the scale, you start to get some of that waviness on the sides, which is kind of cool. Might use that for something else. But anyway, we're not doing that though. That's just something you could do if you wanted. I don't dislike this, but I also don't like it. Especially because a lot of times you want to use a 3-point setup. Why did I go into camera? 3 light setup. Though with cell shading that gets kind of funky, because like now you can't see edges. There are ways, however, if you wanted to get around that, you just do a freestyle, and then if you render it, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Oh, right, that cube is still there. Whoops. Let's get rid of that. Delete. If you render it, can you see this? I don't think you can. I really need to get more familiarized with this software. OBS, not Blender. Well, both. Okay, anyway, I got sidetracked a little bit talking about shaders and things. So instead, what we're going to do is I am going to do some experimenting. So I want this to be kind of cartoony. So the color ramp method, this one works pretty well. I'm going to modify the colors, but then I'm going to add some more to it. Ooh. So if we make this more of a bread-looking color, which what color is bread? Brown! But it's kind of like a light brown. So it's not a reddy brown. It's probably doesn't help that I have a like a night filter on, so that makes things a little bit worse. But let's see. That's straight red. So maybe like there. No, that's too dark. Hex. Okay. I'm just gonna hex this bread, brown, hex. Let's see. So, copy. And quite what I was going for, but it's a step in the right direction. Oh, right, you add more white. I was going way too far into the others. So then if I take that, darken it, and then take that, and darken that, it's a better color. Hey, look! It's bread! Woo! Very boring bread, but bread nonetheless. Okay, so what I'm imagining is... So, a lot of times... I don't even know where I was going with that sentence. What I'm imagining is the brown part, I want it to be kind of flecked with like little dark spots. So what I can do for that, I believe... Okay, so that is determining this color here. So I'm going to add a math node, and we will mess around with that. That was a terrible idea, but we'll play around with it for a sec. Actually, you know what? What if we... What was it? Shift-click? Control-Alt-click? Okay, Control-Shift-click. It basically makes it so that the node that you're on connects to your output. Let's see. So we do need probably a mix RGB. Let's combine this color with another, but then that other color... No, except I'm not wanting to mix them, I'm wanting to combine them. So that would be a math node. So I'm wanting to add one on top of the other. What if I multiply? No, because that's multiplying the functions themselves. Alright, let's see. Where are we going from here? It wouldn't be adding, because this color here is what is going to the output, so I need to put something else in there. What if I add another diffuse, and then I make it so that this color goes to that? It's not great, but it's not awful. But I suppose this makes sense, because that's what a diffuse would do. If I just stuck it into a principled BSDF, that could work. I said with no measure of confidence. No, same thing. Right, because we're adding... Okay, hang on. Because when you add it in there, that's creating a shader, and the shader follows environment lighting. Whereas this one doesn't really to the same extent. So like your world light, your background, if I increase this light, it stays the same. It really only responds to... Oh, I broke something. Oh. I was gonna say. Yeah, so it does respond to world lighting, but the main thing is just light in general. So, because there is a light source here, it's going to act as if there was a light source and behave accordingly. The whole thing will lighten and darken respectively, but not necessarily to the same extent. I actually do want this in kind of a white void, so that works. Let's see. So if that is getting added there, then maybe I was wrong. Maybe it is a mix. Mix RGB. Wait, no, that's a straight mix. I need specifically a mix. shader. Yeah, that's it. Okay. There we go. So mix shader. So that should look the same regardless of... Okay, it gets a little darker based on the factor. That's okay. Okay, so that is going to be the main shader there. Well, not the main shader, but one of the things affecting it. Now I want to add little dots. So to do that, let's see, I could combine some textures here. So if I do a noise texture and then just plug that right in, that would have some fun effects. Yeah, look at that. Gross moldy bread. Don't ever do that. If I plug this in, how would that look? Same, less colored. Cool. That works for me. So we're not going to do that, because that is not the desired effect. I do want to combine a couple things, so we're going to add a texture coordinate. Then a mapping. I should have put those in the reverse order. But this... How do people do? No, see, that just connects that to that. How do people just click and make them go together? Anyway, vector goes there, and then we'll just currently use the generated. We're going to want that on probably not location or rotation. We want that on scale. Okay, so we have a noise texture here, and then we're going to put that also into a color ramp. And then if we put that in, we should see not much. Blacken that, make this also constant, drag that in, and then if I scale this up, what happens? Not much. What if... Like I said, I don't pretend to be an expert on this. So the color ramp is not coloring. That's okay. That's what we're here for, is living and learning. Wait. Yeah, that would affect things. So currently that's just combining them. Currently that's just combining them into one, which makes sense because it's a mix. Maybe I was wrong, and it is the mix RGB. Right, there you go, colors. Colors instead of shaders. Alright, now show me a change. What if we add I was shooting myself in the foot. There we go. This is what I was going for. It kind of looks gross and moldy, but flip. Another flip. So that's coming out as white. I want that to not be that way. But if you flip the color ramp, it comes out that way anyway. So, right, because it's adding. So what if I multiply? No, that's not it. Overlay? Or, actually, if I go back to add, but then I invert these two, that doesn't do what I want either. See, it looks like the issue here. Okay, that's interesting. Well, if that wasn't so gross looking, it'd actually be kind of a cool texture. It almost looks more realistic somehow. Like freshly baked bread. What if I change this color? Where's that white coming from? See, because that's a black. No, see, it's still there. So the white's coming from white. That tracks. So I have to find a way to... Well, I'm kind of digging this, if I'm being honest. But I don't want it to be so strong. Okay, let's go back to 0.5. I feel like right there is good. It almost kind of looks like sourdough. I mean, not in every detail, but just like kind of the floury outside. So I may keep this actually, because it's working better than I thought. What if I then take this? So that's the default color. So if I take that and then I plug that into like a diffuse, doesn't like that. Doesn't like that at all. Right, you can do colors to that, but not the other way around. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do a color attribute. Just kidding, that's not the one I'm thinking of. What is it? Hue saturation. That's not it. I'm trying to remember, there's a node that you can use that... I mean, this one's just great. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Is it gamma? Oh, gamma is going to remove stuff. Okay. Let's see, so the add node is an overlay, is in addition, which is why it comes through brighter. So, what if I do subtract? Hey, we burned the toast. Okay, now I want to do like a combination of the two, because I do actually like the look of the added bread. Just a little less intense would be good. So, I mean, that's still pretty intense, but... Okay, so I plug those into an add, and then I want to add like darker burnt spots on top of that. So by using the same thing that we just did here, what if... No, because that's going into the add, and then that comes out there. Let's adding those two together. So I would need to plug these into a subtract. I could be completely wrong. I'm probably completely wrong. I have a feeling I'm completely wrong. I may need to add the subtract on top of something else, like mix it in there somewhere. But if I'm adding and subtracting, that's just going to cancel out. Unless... Well, that gives you kind of a cool range. You can go from sourdough to burnt. But what I want is both. So, let me think. You get the same effect regardless of what I just did. Also realizing that when I'm in this mode here, you guys can't really see what I'm doing with the screen stuff. Oh, you know what? It's because the background... Oh no, you can still see it there. I guess it's just not in this tab. Maybe it's hiding. Alright. Actually, now that I'm thinking about this, how would this material react to the light moving? Barely at all. Interesting. Living and learning. Right now I'm doing a lot of living and not a lot of learning. That's not true. Learning lots by doing this. Okay, so these two are now combined. This is the material that's being output there. So if I want to add something on top of that, that is where I should probably add a mix RGB and then create a separate material. Or I could just do the same thing over again and see what happens. Oh, you know what? If I plug an invert node in here, then the color that it outputs should be the opposite, ideally. Except that didn't happen. Why won't you output black. If I darken it. I almost feel like that looked better before. Looks about the same. Though, actually adding the darken may darken it. Who would have thunk? Oh, it's pretty minor. But it's adding. It's like a contrast to the white. So bring it in. Well, it's not exactly what I was going for, but for the time being, this will have to do. So, get your camera out, literally. Maybe I'll make this a bit darker again. Oh, there's your bread. Actually, though, hang on one second. Just let me do something. So I'm gonna make a new material. I'm gonna call this one inside. Whoopsies. Don't want that. This should be material 1. And this will be inside, which this one here I need to rename to crust. Then the inside. Yeah, I'm gonna head off too. As soon as I do this one thing here. Just bop. Assign, and then take off that. Nope, that's not good. I just do? What changed it? What did I play around with that made it no longer work? I go back now... There's definitely more white than there was before. The inside of the bread needs more darkness. I don't feel like this is actually doing anything. And if it is, it's very minimal. It's like, what happens if I cut that? Almost nothing. Oh. Well, that would explain it. Where's my Control Z? Okay, no longer wants to work. That's okay. Wait, did I do that to the other one too? No. I'll just make this one black. And then... I may just have to start over from scratch on this one, because I'm not a fan of bread. I'm not a fan of how this is looking. Like, the shape is all good, but the material... I'm just not a big fan of that noise texture. I was at first, because it kind of looks like, you know, the outside of sourdough, like the flour on it, but the longer I look at it, ugly it looks. So we're going to pretend that this is what I made from the beginning. And let's see if we add another light. Somewhere like up here maybe. That kind of works. Grab that. That looks decently good. Okay, well, it's not as much It's not as much progress as I was wanting to make, but it will have to do. So, anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this. And yeah, if you are interested in seeing the progress of this project as it progresses through the course of progression, then check out starskippergames.com. I'm probably going to start doing these on our YouTube channel. If you search in YouTube for Starskipper Games, you'll find us. And I'm wanting to do some developer streams working on the content for some of the new and upcoming games. But if you do have any questions about it, or if you are curious, then leave a comment below. Or you can reach out to us directly, because we do have contact info on there as well. But anyway, thank you very much for being a part of this. It wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but, you know, sometimes you just got to admit that you are not bred for this yeast. Rise above. We'd better call this before I'm feeling too crummy. Yes. Alright, thank you very much for watching. And now I just have to figure out if ending the stream